Welcome to another AMA with Kadena Ecosystem. In this episode, we'll be speaking with the team from Marietta Jane. This conversation was recorded on June 23rd, 2023, live on Twitter Spaces. The views and expressions in this AMA do not represent the views of Kadena Ecosystem directly and are not to be considered as financial advice. Please make sure to do your own research on the projects presented. Also, make sure to follow and subscribe to our account to be alerted of new uploads. Now let's get started. Enjoy. Welcome everybody to another AMA with Kadena Ecosystem. Today we have joining with us Marietta Jane. They are building some very cool new systems on top of the Kadena blockchain, and we're here to learn a little bit more about them. So why don't we just start with a little introduction about yourself and what Marietta Jane is all about. So take it away.
Hey guys, thank you very much for having us. I feel very honored to be on this. I've listened to this chat a lot, so it's really great to finally be on it. So we wanted to build a very decentralized casino. One of the biggest factors for me was focusing on player versus player. A lot of casinos in today's era are player versus computer, and we wanted to try to make it as fair as possible for our users. So we have a few different metrics that I can touch into later, but our main goal is to have a decentralized, even playing field for players to be able to go on and bet.
Awesome. So just out of curiosity, because you have a very unique name, Marietta Jane, just maybe a little bit of background of where that name comes from, because it's very unique.
Thank you. So that one, we stole that from Tom Petty on that one.
All right. Now that you say that, I'm like, okay, yeah, now I totally get the reference, and I've definitely remember the line and remember hearing that. So besides the awesome name, what made you guys decide to build on Kadena? Obviously, you've been around in the ecosystem before, but there's lots of other different platforms and things with larger communities, more outreach, more tooling, stuff like that. What made you decide to go with Kadena specifically?
So great question. We see a lot of opportunity with Kadena as well as the other blockchains, but I am a very big proof of work guy. I'm not a proof of stake, and I'm really not a fan of the metrics and how proof of stake is done. I personally believe that proof of stake is more for very wealthy individuals to stay very wealthy. And I feel that proof of work has a more opportunity for people that don't have a lot of that wealth to really start to gain. I feel that Kadena will be a very big key player, and it's going to be a competitor against AVAX and Solana. It's got a long way to go to really touch on Ethereum. It's got a long way to go to really be a competitor against Bitcoin, but I really do foresee it being a big competitor against Solana and AVAX. And I just feel that the security measures with Kadena are so much better than anything with Solana.
So of all the things, you kind of touched on this a little bit right at the start, but of all the different things that you can build on Kadena, like NFTs, DEXs, all that kind of stuff, what was your inspiration for building a online casino type game? Was there any kind of previous, like you saw the games or something from other networks, previous work maybe possibly done on Kadena? What was your driving force to want to build a casino?
So I saw a lot of people from the Wizards community and Flux community always get together on like a Friday or Saturday and play Texas Hold'em or poker or whatever it was. And they would have to do an honor system where if they won, they would honorably send over coins and honorably send over this. And I said, you know what? I can build something that we can have an escrow service where people are then able to play with their friends on a Friday or Saturday night, log on and play Texas Hold'em via blockchain.
Oh, so it kind of came from almost from a case of necessity in which you felt like, this was a section where, things were kind of just being done, like you said, on an honor system where if someone won, the loser would just kind of be, honorably be like, okay, I will send the funds later or something like that. But, having it all on chain and having it done through smart contracts just kind of simplifies the matter and takes things out of the control of, you may have that one bad actor that joins a game and decides, oh, I'm going to bet all this stuff, but I'm not going to win anything. And then when they lose, they just disappear and don't bother paying up. So it's kind of good to hear that, it was kind of built almost out of necessity and something that, takes over. And something that the community kind of didn't really know that they needed, but are probably going to find out that they really need to. Now, when it comes to making bets on these games on your casino, can you maybe break down like how the where the funds come from? So if I go in and I bet, 5 KDA on roulette or something like that, and I win, but I'm playing just versus the computer or something, can you maybe break down where the funds come from, where they go, and how that operates?
Sure. So our liquidity pool is brought in by our stakeholders. So the people that are purchasing our NFTs have 100% access to become a liquidity provider for our stake pool. The winnings come directly from that. And the way how the stake pool operator receives its funds is through the transaction fees, the buy sells of the NFT, and any losses that occur in the game. So if someone were to go in and win, it's going to be drafted from the liquidity pool that the stakeholders provide from the NFT shares.
Awesome. So that kind of leads me into your next question, which is the NFT. Can we maybe get a little breakdown of what the NFTs are, why you are doing NFTs, what the benefits are of holding it, and how people can go about getting these NFTs?
Absolutely. So there's going to be a few perks with it. We did not want to launch an inflationary synthetic. That was one of the biggest things that we really opposed. In our stake pool, we pay out in KDA. We do not pay out an inflationary synthetic token. It's not a derivative. It is Kadena. We pay out when what we receive. So we don't play any funny games along those lines. So the NFT as well, it's going to whitelist you to any future NFT projects that we do. We do have some games in the works. We want to replicate Zed horses onto it. We want to have more betting and more adaptability in the NFT space as well. The NFTs also are issued as like a stock. Currently with SEC regulations and whatnot, we wanted to really stay clear about a security token launch. So we really wanted to not even be in that same window. So we went with representation of stock through NFTs. Currently, it is still a pre-sale on the NFTs. We are currently working on creating the collection. The collection will also pay out a dividend. So even if you are not putting liquidity up for the stake pool, you will still receive dividends quarterly from the NFT. Now, the dividends are up for debate because we don't know how much we're going to receive per quarter on the game, but everything that goes through the game will be dispersed back to its community members.
Now, you mentioned earlier as well that the money for this liquidity pool is also coming from the mints of these NFTs, correct?
Yes. I'm not taking any profit back from it. It's going directly back to the game.
Just looking at the website here for the pre-sale mint of the NFTs, at the top it says pre-sale mint 4 out of 10,000, but if you read the description, it says it has a hard cap of 1,000. So can you maybe just kind of clarify that? Because I was a little bit confused when I was doing my research today.
Yeah, we have a few errors in spelling and grammar in there. We've been working on this for the last 2 weeks now since we launched. We were more focused on launch of the actual game dynamics and making sure the game works and having the actual product work. We're fixing all the UX this weekend. You should see within the next 2-3 days a major update on the front end, a lot of grammar, everything along those lines. The guys that we have right now for the developers, English is not their first language. So that is a little bit of a workaround, but we are getting to that.
So is the collection a 10,000 piece or a 1,000?
10,000 piece.
All right, cool. Just to clarify it, just because in case anyone else is listening and goes to the website and sees that, just so they're clarified on what exactly is going on there. So that's good to know. Now, you did just mention that you have a dev team that's working on this. When it comes now, we have seen in the past some coin flip games on Kadena come and go, and mostly they have been gone due to issues with their contracts. Have you had any chance to possibly have any third-party audits or anything like that done on your smart contracts?
Yes, we're currently working with a few audit firms right now. I'm not able to disclose anything at this very moment, but that is in the works.
Good, because that's one of the things I feel like, it does obviously, these audit firms and things like that don't do these things for free. So that, you do have to have some funds, you do have to have some work to get these things done. But, just adding that layer and showing that, you've taken that step to ensure that the contracts are secure and that when people are going to be playing these games, doing the staking, adding to liquidity pools, things like that, that they're not worried that there's some kind of backdoor or exploit or anything like that. Because like I said, in the past, we have seen those issues arise from people who didn't do their proper due diligence before and kind of rush the product out the door. And it can sometimes come back to hurt not just the project, but the people who get behind the project and support it. So it's good to hear that you're already in talks of getting that done. And hopefully it can come sooner than later, because, I feel like that might be something that may be one of the reasons why people may not be wanting to get too heavily invested in something like this. As I said, in the past, people have been burnt on things like this. So that's good to hear, though, that you're thinking that way, making sure that things are secure and safe for the community. Now, when it comes to the market, or when it comes to the NFTs themselves, have you had any, or have you been in any discussions yet to possibly talk with any of the marketplaces for, secondary sales, things like that? And also, are these NFTs pure Marmalade standard, or have you gone like the Butter route or anything like that?
That's a great question. We're still up for debate on that one. We don't have anything in hard fork or hard set right now for the standard on it. Right now, what we're focusing on is building more games and building out the ecosystem on Kadena Casino. That is definitely something that we can put into the DAO. We are planning on getting into the DAO system with Swarms whenever that does launch, and then we can have the community decide and have it more decentralized, and all the votes within it can then make that decision up. I'm really cool with whichever.
Yeah, good to hear. I feel like maybe Marmalade may be the best bet, because it kind of seems like now that V2 of Marmalade has come out, that is going to be the majority standard probably moving forward for projects on Kadena. So I feel like, it might be best just to lock that down as the standard you're going to go with, because not only does that, stay in line with the protocol that the core team itself is working on, but it also seems to be the protocol that the marketplaces moving forward seem to be working with. Now, one other feature that you mentioned already, and that I wouldn't mind learning a little bit more about, is your staking option that you have on your website. Now, when most people hear about KDA, they realize that, it's a proof of work coin. You can't really stake KDA. So can you maybe explain what kind of options you are providing when it comes to staking, and the benefits that people get if they stake their KDA with you?
So absolutely. So the first way to stake is to actually become one of the NFT holders. You're not able to partake in our stake pool without having that NFT. That just gives us a little bit of access and whatnot. So the stake pool will receive profit or yield and pay out users yield monthly. You'll lock up your funds for 30 days. After that 30 days, you'll be able to pull it. Right now, we're seeing about 10.4 percentile return on it. Now, that is subject to change. It's a fairly new liquidity pool, so I do expect that to go down. But realistically, the way how you're going to receive your yield is through the transaction fees, through losses, and through buys and sells of the NFTs. If someone wanted to trade off their NFT on a secondary market, which not yet, but it will be, you would then receive fees that go back to the stake pool from that. Any of the losses that are accumulated in the game go directly to the stake pool, and any of the transaction fees go directly back to it. It's not a synthetic. It pays back in Kadena. It's not new synthetic assets and no derivative basis.
Well, it's good to hear that you're deciding to stick directly with KDA in, KDA out, as opposed to making your own kind of token and paying people out in some secondary token. Just to make sure, do you have any plans in the future for possibly having a token on this platform for people to be able to use for betting, use for all different types of options and possibly an option for paying out in for the liquidity in the staking pools? Or are you trying to 100% stick with just KDA?
So I'm not really interested in launching a security token, especially in today's climate, especially with how the SEC is handling things right now. I do plan on having different forms of payment within the Kadena ecosystem. I would like to reach out and work with other projects that are already in the ecosystem and utilize them as modes of payment. I'm very interested in having some of the meme tokens and some of the other utility tokens as well to be able to partner up and use their currencies and also have the same exact metrics where if they stake, they can also then get yield back in that native currency as long as there's players and transaction fees.
Now, you mentioned earlier for people wanting to get involved in the staking pool that they do have to own one of the NFTs. But reading on your roadmap here, it also says that NFT holders will be able to stake their NFT. Can you maybe describe what would happen if I buy one of these NFTs and instead of staking KDA, the staking is the NFT itself? What are the benefits behind that?
So on that part, we're actually looking a little bit forward, a little bit different onto it. We're looking at not these NFTs, but some of the NFTs for our gameplay. Whenever we have more, we're trying to replicate later on a Z horse onto the Kadena that we can then later upgrade with the smart contracts and really have a game similar to Wizards and Z horses. And that's what we're going to be referring to as.
Awesome. Now, at the start, we kind of talked a little bit about PVC, which is player versus computer, and PvP, which is player versus player. Obviously, a lot of the times when, like you said, when it comes to these online casinos, you are just playing pretty much against a computer, against a random number generator, and there's no real actual person-to-person combat. Can you maybe go over how PvP would work in a system like yours?
So PvP will be 100% decentralized. The miner will pick the reward. Certain games you're not going to be able to do player versus player in. You're not going to really be able to do player versus player in certain game modes, but it's really focused more on playing card game modes. We would like to see different, if you're familiar with like Apple iPhones, how they have a lot of iGames, we would really like to be able to put in Battleship. We'd really like to put in chess, checkers, Plinko, things along those lines that people are able to go on, log on with a specialized link, and then play against each other. The PVC will be a little bit different than PvP games. Not all PvP games will correlate to PVC, and not all PVC games will correlate to PvP.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Like, I don't see how like coin flip would really be a PvP thing, because, you know, you're flipping a coin. It's 50-50 chance. You're not really, it's not like there's really an option to play. But for something like Texas Hold'em or Blackjack, for sure you can have that PvP style of obviously playing Hold'em against another person, playing Blackjack against another person. And it's going to add a whole different layer to it. Now, when it comes to the PvP playing, will be kind of like how, I don't know if you've tried the Brawler Bears from Arcade, where you set up a brawl and then, you know, you make your move and then you're waiting for your opponent to make their move. And each one is a transaction, obviously. Would that be kind of the way you're structuring these PvP games?
You know, I am not 100% familiar with how brawlers work, so I can't really speak on that. It's going to be very similar to like a normal Texas Hold'em game that's just going to rely on blockchain. I would also like to just throw out there that our developer, Elijah, our head guy, is in. So if you could add him on and he can speak a little bit too.
Sure. Sent him an invite to speak. So if he wants to come up here, he's more than welcome to. Would love to hear a little bit of the behind the scenes on the development side. It's always good to hear that kind of stuff. Now, you mentioned earlier of a DAO and mentioned swarms. Are you guys definitely for sure looking at going with swarms for creating your DAO? And if so, what do you see as the use cases and proposals and things that you plan on implementing into this DAO?
So the biggest thing for me with the DAO is being able to showcase to everyone that, hey, funds are safe. We want to be able to lock up the funds that we receive, the larger liquidity pool, when we get grants from other ecosystems and from other projects providing liquidity. I'm not going to name names, but if some DAO or some project wanted to then put their coins up so it could be utilized in the casino, I want to be able to have everyone on the exact same page and say, hey, these are where the funds are going to be safe. These are how the funds are going to be secured. And this is what we're doing. So that's one of the biggest reasons why we would like to choose Swarms for our DAO. And I feel that Curtis and everyone over there at the team is extremely robust in this. And they're very, very, very well educated on the DAO. So I feel very confident in utilizing their platform.
Yeah, they're definitely working very hard to get a very robust platform built for the many different ways and options that you can use a DAO and be involved. Now, when it comes to your DAO, would it be only available to people who are original NFT holders? Would that be their key to get into the DAO?
Correct. Yes, that's how.
Awesome. So so it's going to be pretty much like a basic, a normal DAO for NFTs where it's going to be a 1-for-1 vote pretty much per NFT.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. That's good to hear. It's good. It's really cool to see that, we're moving towards that kind of system and that kind of world where, it's giving the power to the community and the people who are putting their time and their money behind a project and allowing them to have a say, because a lot of the times in a lot of projects on multiple different platforms and multiple different blockchains out there, you just, once you buy the NFT and you get involved, that's really all your involvement really is. You just kind of have to follow the ship wherever it goes and whatever choices they make. And I've seen some projects make some really, really stupid choices. And if they would have just had a DAO to let the community have their say, it probably wouldn't have gone the way some of them have gone, and probably, would have kept their community more involved, more active. And, when you let people have that say and have that ability to get their vote in and get their ideas placed into the project, it makes the community feel a lot more secure and like they have meaning. Like there's actually meaning behind their investment as opposed to just, a tool to be part of the system. So very cool to hear that that's the kind of the way you're working, and kind of something that everyone really should be looking more into. I kind of feel like almost every single NFT project, if you have any kind of utility at all, you should have a DAO. You should be reaching out to your community and asking them to get involved, because those are the people. Without the community, you wouldn't even have a project. You need those people behind you. You need them to be involved, and a DAO seems to be the best way forward. So very cool to hear that you are definitely on track to having a DAO as well, because there's no real bad sides to having a DAO, and there's nothing but benefits that come along with it. Now, currently, when it comes to games, you just have the roulette and the coin flip, but we also have slots, blackjack, dice, Texas Hold'em coming soon. Is there anything besides games that you're looking to offer when it comes to a casino? Because a casino can be a lot more than just games. There's, it could be hosting events. It could be hosting all types of different things. And like you said earlier, you would like to partner with other projects around the ecosystem. So outside of just the straight up game realm, what other kind of things do you see as a possibility for you to build into this platform, or things you'd like to see?
So I would really like to see the community take hold. I really want to see where the community wants to bring the direction. I don't want to just leave it up to me. The whole part of the DAO will also be to incorporate the community and see what the community wants. But one thing that I would be pushing for whenever the DAO does launch is the ability to have a Z race. If you're familiar with Ethereum, Z race is a horsing race. You're able to upgrade their contracts and you're able to race their contracts. It's similar to like a horse race. And I would like to do something similar on that aspect. I love what Wizards Arena has done in the Kadena ecosystem with the upgradability and the way how they have their metrics. And I would love to be able to utilize some of the metrics that they have. I think their game battle is very unique. I know I know Alardo has that code locked away, and that's fine. But I really, really do like how Wizards took that gameplay and turned it up. I really just do. So I'd like to be able to incorporate a lot of NFT betting, a lot of NFT horse racing, whatever the gameplay may be, and then continue with that avenue.
Yeah, because if you're going to have things like Texas Hold'em or Blackjack, really that just kind of screams tournaments to me, where, you know, multiple people can get involved and you could have a whole huge tournament where like you have 100 people or whatever sign up for the tournament and the last one standing takes the pot kind of thing. That seems to be almost a perfect setup for something like this, and is really just kind of a natural progression for any kind of casino type thing, be it in real life or be it on a blockchain or whatever. So it would be really cool to maybe, you know, poke at Ilario and maybe see if you can get some kind of words out of him on how they have it set up, because their tournament functions and everything is just absolutely mind-boggling, the way they have it set up and how smooth it all functions, and just really would benefit lots of different projects to have those same kind of standards and same kind of protocols set in their own projects as well. So, you know, that's one good thing about this Kadena community, is that a lot of people are very willing to help out other projects, and it is kind of a very tight-knit community of people who, you know, all just want to help each other, benefit from each other, and help grow the ecosystem together. Because there's no real sense of just making, you know, standing in your own little corner and not really communicating with other projects. Or, you know, if you see another project that's similar to yours or is doing things kind of the way you want to do them, you shouldn't really look at those people as, you know, as the enemy. You should be looking towards them as possible partnerships, possible friendships, people that you can all talk together. That's one thing here at Eucalyptus Labs that we worked on, especially when we started building Koala Wallet, was reaching out to all the different projects, was even included reaching out to other wallet competitors to speak with them and talk to them about how we can all work together to make everything better, to make standards, to make all these things that all the community can benefit from, and not just ourselves, and not just working inwards, but working outwards for the betterment of everyone. So there's lots of different ways that you can go about this. There's lots of different people that have built amazing things already that you could utilize and come through with. So, you know, the possibilities are endless. It's just a matter of your imagination and how far you can go with it. And it seems like you have a pretty good idea on where you want your casino to go and the things that you want to do to be involved with it. So lots of really cool stuff. I'm not sure if there's anything else that we haven't really touched on that you'd like to touch on. But I know that that's pretty much everything that I had questions for. But if there's any kind of other alpha or things that you'd like to drop, just let me know and we could talk about those.
So I can't go into too much detail on partnerships. A lot of NDAs have already been signed. But all I can say is there are partnerships coming. We are looking to branch out into other ecosystems, not just Kadena, but other proof of work blockchains as well. That is something that we are looking at. You will see within the next few days the UX be updated, and then sometime either Monday or Tuesday, we're going to have a few upgrades done to the website as well in terms of improvement and usability. But you will see things happen within the next week. We got a lot of backlash originally on like the UX, so we wanted to fix the UX first before we continue with any other games. But as long as the market stays going up and people are willing to take a risk and purchase our NFTs to help support the community and help support the launch, we'll be able to build more things, more great things in the Kadena ecosystem.
Yeah, we're definitely seem to be on a little bit of an uptick right now, which is really good for everyone, because I feel like a lot of projects have been kind of in this lull, just kind of waiting for something to take a turn. And hopefully this is the turn that they've all been waiting for, and we get to see a lot more involvement and a lot more stuff being built, and a lot of more places that projects can go with and start and continue to build on the Kadena ecosystem, because we have to be ready for that next big push. And the next time that our little tiny community gets pushed into the forefront and people start really noticing and really taking involvement. And, the sooner that projects can build up their tools, build up their backends, build up their UXs, build up everything, the more prepared they're going to be for when when those floodgates pretty much open. And that is coming. I see that coming hopefully in the near future, but I've become a bit of a pessimistic. I started off very starry-eyed, being one of those people that believes I'm going to be a millionaire in a year kind of thing. And 6 years in, and I'm still nowhere near a millionaire, especially not from crypto. But that day is coming for everyone who is smart enough to get in early and strong enough to hold on until the tides break, until something moves forward. So there's lots of different ways this can go, and hopefully the casino will be one of those tools that brings people into the ecosystem and gives them a chance to be part of this community and be part of something that's really special and something that people can really enjoy. Now, one thing I will say that I wouldn't mind seeing when it comes for transparency and stuff like that is when it comes to these kind of online games and casinos and things that are built on blockchain involving contracts, is having maybe a section on the website where you have your contracts all listed that people can then go and check, because it's one thing to have a company audit it, but if you open up those contracts and just put the contract addresses down, there's lots of devs and people in the space as well that are more than happy to look over these contracts for the community, and something that you may not even have to pay for. A lot of people just are curious and want to see these kind of things, as well as the addresses involved for treasuries, things like that. I find the more transparent you can be with your community, the more the community is going to get behind you.
I mean, it's in Chainweaver. You can just use Chainweaver and you can find the contract yourself, and then you can see all the code there. I mean, I don't plan on open sourcing this contract anytime soon, as we're still developing some stuff. But if someone wants to find it, which they have, they know where to look. I mean, you just go through Chainweaver, you can see it all through there.
True, but it's more of not making people have to jump through hoops to look at things, because not everyone is Chainweaver savvy, but most people know how to use an Explorer. And for example, you can look up contract codes on the Kadena Explorer, the KDA Explorer. So there's different ways that people can look into it. And like I was just saying, just the more transparency, the better when it comes to all of these kind of things, especially when it comes to something that involves any kind of betting or things like that, because like I said, you just don't want to run into any of the problems that we've seen with any of the past projects who have come forward trying to bring these things to fruition. If we've taken, learning from the past and moving forward into the future is always the best way to work. But I do understand of, not wanting to make until everything is finalized and make sure that you have things set up the way you want them to be, of not making them totally accessible and easily accessible for people to see. But just down the road, down the future, something to put on the whiteboard for as you're continuing to develop this project, something that I feel is just really something that will help bring more trust from the community to feel safer and things like that, because you want to feel safe when you're coming in and playing these games, staking money with people, buying NFTs, things like that. So just something for you to consider. That's all I was throwing out there for.
Sure, absolutely. I'll definitely take that into consideration on that.
Awesome. Well, that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover today. And like I said, I love these kind of things. I love people taking initiative to build things, especially when you saw a need and a use case for this from something that was already existing and decided like, oh, I'm going to build a tool to help facilitate something that's already happening, but could be improved upon and can be used and can benefit or be a good use case for the Kadena blockchain and for Pact and for Marmalade and the different NFT standards and things like that. So, like I was saying to the Utterly Ridiculous people the other day, a lot of people have ideas and are always like, why don't you do this or why don't you do that? And, it's more like, well, why don't you do it? A lot of people have these ideas, but not too many people actually act on those ideas and actually try to make them come to fruition. So, I always applaud people who see a need, see a want for something and decide, I'm going to build this. I'm going to take those steps. I'm going to be the one to have the initiative to build these things. So I always applaud anyone who's willing to take that leap. And it's obvious that, like I said, you saw you saw a need for something like this and you ran with it. So very much applause to you for taking that plunge.
Thank you. I just want to throw out one more thing. We are planning on launching out with Koala Wallet as an extra. We've just been kind of swarmed with it. It is coming. I just want you to know that.
Awesome. Just all you got to really do is add the Wallet Connect V2 and people are good to go. That's, Koala Wallet connects perfectly through Wallet Connect. And even when our dApp browser is going to be using functionalities from Wallet Connect. So definitely, or not dApp browser, our extension wallet. So, very awesome to hear that. If you need any assistance with that, you can always jump into the Koala Wallet Discord and ask questions in there. Our devs are always hanging out. Our team's always in there watching the chats and everything. So if you do need any assistance, do not hesitate to reach out. We're more than willing to help or at least point you in the right direction to other projects that have already implemented it that may be able to help you also implement the Wallet Connect standard, things like that. So definitely do not hesitate to reach out. We can always, if we can't help you directly, we can definitely point you in the direction to get the assistance that you need. So very awesome to hear, though, that you're already thinking about adding that.
We look forward to it. There's so many other wallets that we want to add. We are just swamped right now between everything that's going on and just making sure. So it's a little overwhelming, but we're getting through to it. So it's just a working process. We do plan on having Koala Wallet, and we definitely look forward to working with you guys in the future.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you for coming by and teaching us about what Marietta Jane's all about.
Man, thank you very much for having us.
Of course, we're very happy to talk to any project really building in the Kadena ecosystem, give them a platform to be able to get their project out there, talk to people, put them in the forefront. And like I said, keep your head down, keep building. If you need any help from any of the projects around the ecosystem, you can reach out to us here. We're pretty much in touch with everyone. So everyone listening, make sure you guys give Marietta Jane a follow. Go check out their casino, KadenaEcosystem.io. Maybe try out some of the games, maybe grab yourself an NFT and watch as this project works its way through and builds itself into something that hopefully in the future, lots of people will really enjoy. So once again, thank you very much for coming by and joining us today. And hopefully we can do this again real soon.
Thank you yet again for having us. I hope everyone has a great weekend, and KD to the moon. Let's go.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for listening today. And make sure you guys go check out our calendar on Kadena Explore or KadenaEcosystem.com. We have lots of really cool AMAs in the works. So make sure you guys go check that out. Check out the calendar. Like I said, follow Marietta Jane. Check out KadenaEcosystem.io and join us for the next AMA. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening, and have a great day. That wraps up another amazing AMA. Thank you for listening. Here at Kadena Ecosystem, we strive to bring an open platform for projects being built on Kadena to present themselves to the community. Please ensure to do your own research on the projects before investing. Also ensure to follow us on our social media from Twitter to subscribing to our weekly newsletter to keep up to date on everything KDA related. You can find all the links in the description below. Take care.